Hello, good evening. Welcome to another Unplugged Live. I'm just waiting for Gabriel and Sergio to join me, and we'll start the session as soon as possible. Thank you. Hi, Sergio.
Good evening,
Good
Lionel.
evening. And we have Gabriel just joining. There he is. Good
Hi
evening,
everyone.
everyone. How are you?
Good evening.
So, Sergio, how have you been?
A little bit tired, a little bit overwhelmed right now with everything that's been happening. Two
Yeah.
weeks ago, I was on a trip back from Lisbon after doing two amazing days with some customers who asked me to do the Douro Valley and then the down wine region, which, funny enough, they ended up enjoying more the down
Hmm.
than they enjoyed the Douro Valley. And one of the things that they told me was that it's a shame that no one else is talking about the down because it's a fantastical region, a very beautiful location, fantastic products, wines that are gonna be quite a bit more that work quite a bit more to their liking, amazing gastronomy as well. So yeah, that's those were the reasons. Oh, and absolutely the peace and tranquility that we like to promote. So yeah, they said that it's definitely a region that won their hearts over the Douro Valley, and if they ever decide to come back, probably they'll be spending a little bit more time at the Down. And then,
It's a
yeah,
lovely area.
very, very beautiful. And that's what I told them. I'm a little bit sad that not a lot of people, well, sad and happy at the same time, because not a lot of people heard about that region before, or when they think that Portugal, as far as wine regions goes, it's only the Douro Valley. But again, it's incredible. And those were my kind of people because they went through the little towns. They went through places like Monsanto to Viseu, Guarda.
Awesome.
They asked me for recommendations for other locations, what they could do. Um, so they were going to Alentejo next. I told them Monsaraz, Mourão, very beautiful towns as well.
Awesome area.
So yeah, people who like to go off the beaten path and explore a little bit. So yeah, got to spend 2 amazing days with them last week. After an amazing week that I had last week, it was a little bit sad because, as you know, because of the forest fires over here
Yeah.
in the north of the country. It felt really sad that Porto was under smoke pretty much the entire week. The Douro Valley, same thing, and I don't think that I was in the right mindset to be hosting a lovely
Yeah.
conversation with our audience over here.
Yeah, well,
So, yeah,
I've seen
that's
I've seen that. Unfortunately, I was around Porto as well, so it was hard. It was really hard.
yeah. And having to breathe in all of that smoke every single minute, every single hour, not being able to comfortably go outside definitely puts a damper on your plans
Hmm.
and also on your spirits. And yeah, just to give you an idea, even though the daycare for our little son is just a 5 minute walk from our place, we actually had to take him with the car so that he wouldn't be breathing all of that smoke and all of that dust into his little lungs.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's
it's
sad to have to go through all of this, and even sad. It's even more sad to see the forest now that the smoke has cleared, and seeing all the
Yeah.
burned vegetation, all the burned down forest, and it's devastating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, I've seen that unfortunately, and I also had a great week going off the beaten path a few times, and well, we'll be off the beaten path again this week, so which I like a lot. And well, some of the areas I might see, in fact, the impact, the result of what well what happened last week. So it's very sad, but well, life goes on. So well, we need to keep on moving. So
hmm
well, Gabriel, the Algarve has been taking good care of you, I hope, or you've been taking good care of the Algarve. Well, how have you been?
Well, yes. Well, I've been doing quite well. I just posted a few days ago a nice post about my recent tours. They were amazing, amazing people. Also, as you know, we all love off the beaten path. We all love when people they trust us to to achieve the best, the real best. which is the unique experiences, the
Mm-hmm.
kind of experiences that make people remember about the Portugal and the food and the places and maybe the guide too for the whole life. But yes, yes, yeah. And then as for the rest of, at least for now, we've been lucky this year. But of course, you remember very
Yeah, I
well. We had
remember
big
you had
fires
really
here.
hard
Yes.
years over there as well. So
Yeah, Monchique, Tavira,
yeah, yeah,
Caldeirão. So we know, unfortunately, we know what went through Portugal, North Portugal, and of course we are Portuguese here, so I felt
yeah.
very, very sad too. I was, and yeah, it's unbelievable. Well, but like you said, we have to keep moving, and that's it. Well, I can see here Nicole, she's with us. Nicole, a big hello to Canada. You struggle with fires too, of course, unfortunately. Eric and Pedro, of course. Pedro never fails. Pedro.
Yeah, and
Amazing.
uh, just saying hi to the Azores as well. We have Darcio, a very good friend, great guide from the Azores as well. Another amazing area to
Oh,
visit.
yes.
So
Yeah, exactly.
well, let's go with our topic. You wrote a very
Hmm.
comprehensive post, Gabriel. And I just wanted to leave here, a few insights. I've had some people recently complaining about the accommodation that they had booked for different reasons. Some probably lack of maintenance that was not make it feel with the best scent around. Okay, so some issues with bad smells. Other guests had issues with an accommodation that had been booked by a third party just to realize that they got over there and what was advertised as a hotel was in fact a B&B with a reception that would open or close at some very specific hours. So they wanted to go in and they couldn't. They needed to wait. Then during the day on the tour, and this was on the day of the arrival, they were being informed you need to be here until a certain time, otherwise you cannot get the key, that kind of stuff. And this leads us to a topic that is in fact about choosing quite well the accommodations or assessing quite well the accommodations that you book. This is a very sensitive issue because of course some people prefer B&B, some people prefer hotels, but what we end up seeing in most cases is that some people, once again, and this goes a little bit back to what we spoke last week, um, some people end up booking accommodations without assessing all the ins and outs of what's going on. Okay, and we have a lot of issues that can really affect our stay, our vacation,
Oh, yeah.
if you don't assess all these ins and outs. Okay, so it's very hard to understand that some people end up having vacations compromised, or I wouldn't say ruined, but really affected by the quality of certain kind of choices, because people end up not assessing so well if it's the really the right fit for them, what they are looking for. And I speak more about people staying in cities. Okay, that is the most common. Contact I have with people that stay in cities. So Airbnbs versus hotels and such in cities. But we end up having here three different realities. By example, I remember I spoke about this a few days ago with you, Gabriel. People that, by example, book accommodation in a golf resort that
Hmm.
will have a lot of implications. And by example, Sergio might face a lot of people that try to stay in some small estates or some small wineries. That might be a bit out of the way. Um, I would really love to leave here some advices regarding this. The easiest bit might be really about cities, but I think that sometimes really the choice of the right spot, the right accommodation is crucial to help the vacations to go well. or to, in fact, to make the right decision to provide a good experience, or to help to have a good experience. And I would love to hear a little bit what you can advise, what you can share about it, because we contact with people that sometimes they end up telling us, oh, if we knew that it was like this
Yeah.
or like that, we would have taken this or the other choice. Okay. And you end up being touring in some areas that might be a bit seasonal in certain cases, so the right choice might really make the difference. I would love to leave some advices regarding that. Regarding the cities, one of the things that I can say, and this is in fact what I've been feeling, um, a lot of people end up booking an accommodation that looks really nice on the pictures, and in fact it might be, but it might be, by example, in an old building that is the fourth or the fifth floor without an elevator, okay, without a lift. This happens in the majority of the old buildings on the cities. Um, you need always to ask the questions. Does it have an elevator? Doesn't have an elevator? Uh, uh, we have some mobility issues. We have this or that issue. Is it easy to access the place or not? Can we drive to the place to drop off our luggage, or do we need to drag our luggage on the cobblestone streets? These are just some of the questions that people would really need to ask before booking a certain place. And I see more and more this kind of stuff happening, that people end up booking an accommodation, they stay there the first day, and then they desperately try to find something else because they realize it didn't fit. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've been finding this kind of stuff. I don't know if with the people that you've been contacting on your tours, you feel this kind of issues, but
Definitely.
would love to hear from you. So I'm going to throw the ball. Sergio, do you have any insights you wanna give us about this kind of stuff?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. So regarding accommodations, um, I'm just gonna say it out right out of the bat and how it is for me, how I like to plan things. Usually, when my wife and I we go out, we prefer to stay in hotels.
Mm-hmm.
We do acknowledge that Airbnbs might have some more flexibility, might offer you different possibilities. But for us, when we go on holidays, we want to be relaxed. We want to just enjoy our holidays. And that's why we prefer the hotel, because we know that everything is taken care of. We have the staff over there at the hotel. They're going to make our beds, they're going to tidy up the room once we leave for the day. If we want to have a meal over there at the hotel, we're going to have a restaurant most of the times. During the day, we like to go out and explore. Sometimes we'll do a picnic, sometimes we'll go to a different restaurant. But it's good to have this backup, this support infrastructure all behind us. That is not just the accommodation, it's also the catering, it's also the meal preparation, because we want to be, our holidays, our time is precious, and so we want to be stress-free. We don't want to be doing the same things that we do at home, just in a different location. And
Mm-hmm.
so we prefer to just stay in hotels. Now, I do acknowledge that the Airbnbs might have advantage for larger families, for families with kids. So there's also plenty of good things to be said for Airbnbs. So this is my first take on it. Time is precious, particularly when you're on holidays. Do you want to spend your time just cooking and cleaning, or do you want to use that time visiting and exploring, and then just going to a restaurant? Again, it all depends on personal preferences, budget, etc. So I feel like it's a matter of a very personal choice. Then we do have for me, which is something that is very paramount. It's also the location. Like our American friends, they like to say, there are three things that you need to look for when purchasing a house: location, location, location.
Exactly.
And so that's really, really important, because I'll give you just a few examples. Uh, I'm looking over here at the map on my iPad, and I'm seeing again the place that I like to go to, Quinta de Ventuzelo. But then really close by, one of their next door estates, it's Quinta da Grisha, and it's Quinta do Pessegueiro. I have done in the past a pickup at Quinta da Grisha for a tour, and I swear the access over there, even for a person that is used to driving those roads over there to Douro Valley, that access is terrible. I'm sorry, I just have to put it this way. For me, it was a little bit challenging. I can't even imagine how it is for a person who is not used to drive winding, curvy roads, who is used to driving an automatic car at home and then comes over here to Portugal and has to drive a manual gear. So it's going to add a lot of stress to your holiday. So yeah, make sure that you read about accessibilities to the location that you're planning on staying, and those things do matter. Then another aspect of the location is this is from previous examples. I had people who booked a hotel that has Douro in the name
Mm.
or Douro Valley in the name, thinking that okay, so this hotel says Douro Valley, so it's probably in the Douro Valley. And then I tell them it's actually more convenient if you stay in Porto then book that staying at the hotel that you're planning on staying, because that is definitely not the Douro Valley. It's from Porto to the Douro Valley. It takes us roughly 1 hour and a half, let's say, to get really down to the valley to Pinhão, for example, from Porto. But if I go and pick you up at that hotel, it's still going to take you 1 hour and a half, and that is going to add another hour to my day because I have to leave 1 hour early to pick you up to be at the first place for our tour, for our experience for that day. So that's going to add to my basically my day, and then well, someone has to pay for that. It's my time that is being used, obviously. So sometimes it's not that convenient. And again, the hotel might be good for one things, might be not so convenient for other things. Those places, usually I tell people that those are perfect places if you just want to relax and don't want to do anything else. If you just want to have a resort experience, for example, yeah, then sure, go there, embrace some of the activities that they have, go kayaking, stand-up paddle, go take a dip in the Doe River, just relax by the lawn. Sometimes they have a little bit more room where you can have a tennis court or things like that. So yeah, there's advantages to those locations. But if you're using that as a base to visit other locations, then I strongly discourage those options. So yeah, that's location. And then sometimes, again, and I feel like I'm going from the Douro Valley, getting closer and closer to Porto. We have examples in the city as well. And a lot of people like to stay in the center of the action, and that's perfectly fine. It means that it's convenient. There's not going to be a whole lot of walking to go anywhere in the city. But Porto does have a couple of streets that are considered quote unquote party streets. And there are a few hotels, there are a few Airbnbs located in those areas. So make research, ask your Airbnb host or your hotel concierge, is there anything we should know about the area? Do they have parties over there at night? How it is? Is it peaceful? Is it tranquil? Or we're gonna have some noise issues if we're staying over there on the weekends, for example. It's somewhat common in Porto. And then even within the same street, you have some very famous hotels. Two doors down, you might have a very similar experience to that very famous hotel, but for less than half of the price. So there are two hotels that immediately come to mind on a very famous street in Porto, which is Rua das Flores.
Mhm.
And there is a very
Yeah.
famous hotel on that street. A lot of people like to stay on that hotel. If you look two doors down from that famous hotel, you're going to find another one that also offers a fantastic experience for less than half the price. And because it's smaller, I would say that you're going to have a more catered, a more tailored experience to your liking. Because again, it's a balance of quality versus quantity. And when we're talking quantity, sometimes the quality struggles a little bit. And those little hotels that only have a handful of rooms, well, they have to rely really heavily on the quality of the experience that they offer in order to have some good reviews coming in and then some more guests arriving to their hotel. So these are just some considerations. For example, another one that I sometimes encourage people to do is remove yourself a little bit from the city center. But Porto, for example, I always tell Porto is a very, very walkable city. I mean, if you're averaging, I don't know, people have telling me that they're averaging 25, 30,000 steps a day while they're in Porto, walking over 10 miles a day. If you have to walk an additional 500 or 600, that's not going to make a huge dent. And there are some hotels just a little bit further up the hill from the city hall, even some new construction, some five-star hotels that opened up this year or last year. And because they are new openings, they are still trying to get their first customers in. They have really interesting rates for five-star hotels. And new constructions means that you have modern amenities, meaning that you also be located in a tranquil area. And even if there is noise outside, you're not going to hear a thing because, well, it's they actually invested in soundproofing and all the amenities and energy efficient buildings, all of that good stuff. And because they are not constrained by the space in the city center, sometimes they even offer other things that the other hotels don't offer. First thing that comes to mind, a parking lot. I mean, if you're driving from the city and you want to keep your rental car in the duration in the city, a place where you can park it, because if for whatever reason you got a fantastic discount on your car rental by booking several days in a row, then you want to keep your car, or if you want to take it 1 or 2 days out and to explore other locations, go to the Douro Valley, for example, go to Braga, go to Guimarães, go to Esposende, go to Zurara, Vila do Conde, a never-ending flurry of options outside of Porto, then yeah, having a secure place to park your vehicle, I think it's going to make a world of difference as well. So yeah, these are just some of my considerations, some things that I think about when I see the examples that I have over here in the city, and also some more examples when talking to people, or things that I also am looking for when booking an accommodation. I have, for example, a specific goal in mind, and then I look an accommodation that meets the requirements. It's not just going after the popular spot because I've read that's it's an interesting place to stay in, but it might not be the best fit for you. And that's always the question that you should ask. And I always encourage people to think about it this way. Don't look for the best, look for what's best for you, for what you want. So for me, this is the main takeaway. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm hogging
Well,
quite a bit over
Uh,
here. And I feel like this is the revenge for not being over here for the last 2 weeks.
nah, yeah.
So now,
Well, we missed you, so we
yeah,
were
well,
enjoying.
so
tossing it to the south. So now, Gabriel, some considerations?
Yes, yeah. Well, you said it also. I'm just gonna apply also here because it's pretty much the same in the Algarve. And while you were talking, I just recall a few stories around here. So the location is really important. Of course, choosing between hotels and B&Bs, it's a matter of personal choice. For instance, I don't even have the app of a Airbnb or something. I never stay in a Airbnb, but I used Airbnb for around 4 years in Faro. So I know how it works from the perspective of the host, but also from the perspective of the travelers. And of course, I always ask for the feedback, when my guests, they stay in Airbnbs. Yeah, recently I had some, they stay in Carvoeiro, or they stay in Quarteiro, or they stay in Lagos, and I always try to, okay, how was your Airbnb? Because sometimes people, they ask me for suggestions. I'm always very, very careful because I always tell people, I I I got some feedbacks about this place or that place, but hey, I never been there, so I'm not sure about the place. So be careful, okay? I think we have to be very inquisitive when we are searching for a Airbnb, even more than a hotel. Well, usually me, my family, we stay in hotels. We stay in a beautiful hotel in Porto, Vila Galé Ribeira, when we've been here in Alphago. Sergio, you remember very well. Last year, we decided to stay in a four-star hotel in Cascais. Of course, it's always low season, so we don't pay, I can't afford the crazy stuff too. But I always try to stay in a nice hotel. In my mind, I think when I go on vacation, I want to relax. Well, I don't like to cook or something like that when I'm on vacation, not even at home. But I cook. Yeah, I've made the dinner today, by the way. But yeah, all came down to personal choices and, like the quote says, different strokes for different folks. But hey, I got some stories here, and then I remember, for instance, a couple with a baby. They came to stay in Quarteira, and it wasn't the first time. So they've been here, and then they came again. We did some relocation scouting tours, and they were not even these, people on the budget. They came from Saudi Arabia. They were about to buy a house. They ended up purchasing a house. And when I saw, because I went to Lisbon to pick them up from a very nice hotel by the Avenida da Liberdade. So it was very weird when, I went through, I just followed Google Maps, and then I ended up in a building in Quarteira. Of course, there are nice spots in Quarteira too, but that building came, I thought, what the hell they are doing here? Well, and then they stayed there. The next day, they were not there anymore. So they moved to stay by the marina at Tivoli Marina. So they just made a mistake. For some reason, they choose to stay in a place that it was not suitable for them, not even for me. I mean, the place and the building itself. I saw the flat inside because I helped them with the luggage. Okay, so this was just an example. I had another one, a family, they stay in Lagos, and of course in Lagos there are so many beautiful Airbnbs in hotels, but they ended up staying in maybe, let's say, the most, maybe the worst neighborhood in Albufeira when it comes for, people with less budget there and even more, junkies or something, which is the Bairro Operário, which is the eastern part of the city outside the wall. People they know close to the cemetery, and then I ended up stopping there, and then I just look around, and then I thought, what? These people, they stay here, so they didn't make any kind of research. So I would never stay in a place like this, because of course every town's there, like you said, Sergio. In every place there are places where we have to avoid. I've been in Barcelona, I've been in Milan, and some spots we not go there, right? We have to avoid these places. Okay, so they ended up moving also to a nice hotel. But this is really important to make research. I know from outside it's hard to do this kind of work, because we're gonna trust. I don't know. I've never been in Japan. I don't know what the guys I can trust. Of course, nowadays we have these travel groups, which is a great help. People, they actually they can understand that some guys like us and so many other guides and hosts around here, they are reliable. So we try to help as much as we can. But then, of course, people, they do their own choices too, and sometimes they choose very badly. Like you said, of course, Albufeira is known for having party areas too, and sometimes people, they stay in B&Bs right next to the street, of course, because they are affordable. But then they pay the price for this. But not only, we don't have much time, but sometimes some flats, they are very nice, or some B&Bs, but maybe the people who live there in the building or in the town villas, maybe they don't like much tourists. Maybe they are not even warm as usually the Portuguese people are. I mean, so I think I think people, they should be very aware. Try to ask reliable people here in Portugal, and we try our best. And sometimes our advices, they are not the most popular, or maybe we have to say something that maybe you don't like so much, but at least we try to help you as much as we can for your own good. we live here, so we know more, at least about the locations. We are very, very, very aware. Okay, Lionel, I think our time is going
Well,
fast.
yes, but first, well, thank you for all those insights. There's of course a lot more to talk about these kind of things. And yes, the location, of course. As both of you mentioned, it's very, very important. Well, before we finish our live, and I want to thank everybody that has been watching and posting some comments. We have here something that is right, on your spot, Sergio. So, rain, what to do at Porto? I remember you wrote some posts about that, before. So, if you'll have the chance to try to retrieve some of that information to help, so you might have some insights about this.
I have
And what Pedro Romão just wrote. Yeah, the walking distance. This is always a walking distance. Depends on how much you walk. Okay, but that happens a lot. Not only for people hiring places from abroad, as you might know. Probably better than any of us. As you might know, Gabriel, the apartments for rent in the summer, everybody lists apartments on all of the famous websites of classified ads and such about how many minutes they are from the beach. Okay, this is XYZ minutes from the beach, and people rely, oh, this is just 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. Well, for some people, 10-minute walking, it's already too much. Okay, and I see a lot of people that come to our country, and they have trouble walking so much. And if you think that, instead of walking, we might grab the car and drive, forget it. You just take the car out of your spot, you parked it, and you don't find any other spots to park the car, either on the beach or or even where you just had left because someone took your spot. So this brings just another topic that, just to finish, it's about booking the places, and we spoke about that last week, Gabriel. Booking the places and finding transportation to and from the places. Okay, so the location, it's very important, but how do you get from that location to the places where you want to go, or how do you get to that location? It's even more important. So assessing the place itself needs to be a more wide research. It needs to be a wider research. It's not only about the place itself. It's about, once, as you said, how does it suit your needs or your preferences? Because sometimes you end up just spending time or money just to go from A to B because you took the wrong spot. And there are exceptions, of course. There are good deals on the market, but my first thing in general is, if it's very affordable, okay, if it's too good to be true, probably it is too good to be true. So I'm always, I use always this, as a red flag. If the price is too low, if it's too good of a deal, double check. Okay, and sometimes we have some surprises. Like I stayed in a beautiful hotel. Beautiful, very convenient little hotel in Figueira da Foz just a few days ago. Very affordable. But it was a bit off season, an old little hotel, great host, very nice. But just by example, when they told me breakfast is served at 8 a.m., I needed to tell them, sorry, it doesn't work for me. I need to leave earlier. And on the on the goodwill of help that the Portuguese people are known for, the gentleman said, "I'm going to serve you breakfast earlier because I understand you are working. You need to leave earlier." Okay, sometimes this might make a difference. Okay, and this is another aspect. What time is your breakfast served? Probably you cannot go in a certain tour because you end up not having breakfast. So these are just the simple things that a lot of people don't assess. And I know I extended a little bit our time, but just wanted to add this as another important subject. So once again, I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you for all the comments we've had today as well. And I'm going to post this on our YouTube channel. So as usual, I will post this on YouTube as soon as possible. And well, I'll see you back next week. So well, I want to
That's
thank
it.
both of you for joining, and we'll be back next week, next Monday, with more interesting topics to discuss. So from my side, good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for watching.
Well, from my side too. Bye bye, guys. See you next Monday.
Bye,
Bring your
guys.
stuff, and we'll be glad to share with you our thoughts. Okay.
Bye,
Bye bye, guys.
guys.
Thank you.
See you next week.